because I always set the one date. Their date is, the contract would be from April 10th to 17th, but I think I had us going off from it maybe Friday.
Okay.
Friday or Monday.
So the same, the 10th is Monday.
Yeah. So I think it went off Friday, or will go off Friday.
Yeah.
But I just have to let them know by April 12th.
Oh, okay.
By noon, by write or email, or usually what I do is both. I'll type a letter, I'll put it, send it to them, and then I email them.
Well, if we could pay a portion down, I think it'd be, not, I don't know how many gallons, you probably don't have any clue how many gallons we've used in the last year.
No, not for sure. I mean, I can look that up, but between now and then, easy enough. To me, it looks like if you're gonna save money, it's gonna be, you're gonna save the most on the fuel oil. That it may be smart to try and prepay all of your fuel oil because of the difference there.
Right.
I don't know what it was. It used to average out everything. It's about 30,000. But I don't remember what it was broke down as.
Right.
Yeah, usually the diesel fuel was close to 30,000, and this building, probably between a rough number on the fuel oil, would say 4,000 between this building, that building, and the town office building, roughly.
Right.
Off the top of my head, don't hold me to it. Before we actually did it, I'd want to run some numbers, but roughly.
I can find out tomorrow morning, and then I'll contact you, Jeff, and then you guys can see how you want it.
Okay, how do we want to handle this? I'll give me the option of deciding, otherwise we're gonna have a meeting, right?
Well, we're talking about 10 cents, right?
Yes, we are. And it'd be tough to, quote unquote, pay up 30,000 gallons. That's been a figure that's been thrown out, I know, before. And I understand the fact you don't wanna buy more than you can use, because then I'm not sure what they'd do with it, how they'd transfer it, or if we put, and it would be a good idea to find out what we use in a low sulfur fuel, and then winter blend fuel, how many gallons we use of that. And the heating would be the least usage of it, I would think.
Oh, yeah.
The winter would be the most variable though, wouldn't it? I mean, you never know.
You never know, but the summer would be the same thing, it's something, if you're, that'd be somewhat variable too.
Yeah.
But if we could say we prepay on 70% of the last year's usage, so we don't overdo it, would they accept a check for 70% and sell us 7% at 10 cents off, and the rest will make up?
Right.
Would that be? Do you think that'd work, Paul?
I don't know.
70%, 80%, because we're not gonna probably use a lot less or a lot more than what we have in the last few years.
Right.
If we take an average and take 90% of that, 80% of that.
The other part though is like, do we ever have to utilize that money differently?
Well, sometimes. I mean,
So is that gonna
the
tie
fuel
your
oil is the
hands?
big. You're going to save 48 cents a gallon on the heating fuel, versus only 10 on it. So, to me, that's your biggest.
What's that, Paul?
Right.
I saw 10 cents.
About
10 cents
I
across
had
the board.
2.645. Is that what you had for the?
2.2.
2.265. I thought it was 2.645, but it isn't. It's 2.645.
2.2645. Wow.
Right. So they're all a
So it's
10
all
cent
10
difference.
Okay,
10
they're all
cents
10.
across the board.
Yep. Yeah, I thought I heard
Or say
somebody
50%, would they take a check for 50%, so we're not tying up all of our money?
I mean, that's the big thing is we do sometimes have to jockey the money when we're looking at, what, $3,000? And if we
Right.
prepay out, that's a lot of money to prepay out that we might need somewhere else.
And it might come right down to, just because we got that 2,000 gallon tank out there for stuff, it might be, okay, we want 2,000, we'll prepay that to fill that tank, you know.
Just to start out, so we start
Well, it
out.
might just be as we go, we can prepay it.
The big issue to me is,
What do they call
this,
prepay?
this doesn't go with our budget year. So here we are, partway through the budget, and now, if you're gonna prepay, you're gonna be buying some of next year's fuel on this year's budget.
Right.
And that could put us in a bind at the end of the year. And maybe not. Once you did it the first year, then it would be, yeah, well, you know, but if it went well, then it would be easy to do from that on, it'd just be that first year.
If, I mean, I guess what I'd like to know is how small a percentage, you know, if it would be 50, would they take for the get 10%, 10 cents off on half of the fuel we used last year? Or would they take it, no, we gotta have 100% or we don't want anything?
Yeah.
Then there's no choice,
Right, yeah, I have no idea.
you know, but if we did a, you know, 40 or 50%, I think we could probably the budget, unless catastrophic things happen. But it would be a way of saving possibly, you know, $1,500, $2,000, you know, without hurting us, you know, instead of going the whole 30,000 gallons.
Yeah, I think if it has to be 30,000, it's a no-go.
Right, right, no, I agree with that,
That's,
yeah. But if you could go with like 50%, tie in half of it, and it wouldn't, you know, since we've.
Makes sense, just gotta find out.
Right.
and we
Is
have
it
to by
maybe a
Friday, we
no-brainer?
gotta
They
decide by
Take
Friday.
100% or nothing.
Right, Mark?
Pardon?
We had to decide by Friday, correct?
Yeah, whatever the date of, the 10th,
That's Monday.
Monday. So I'll call her in the morning and just run numbers by her and say, you know, is there a certain percentage we gotta have, or is
Right.
it, we just pay up a couple days in front, or,
Right.
cause they were always doing one of the 15 days on the paid delivery, right?
Well, we do 30,
We do.
we only have a meeting once a month, so they get all they
Right.
get paid.
Right.
I know they did it for a while,
Right,
wanted
they-
it every 15
Right.
days, but legally we can't, really can't do that.
So how do we wanna handle this? We're gonna have to, I don't know if a phone tree probably isn't totally legal.
You could have a special meeting after you have the information.
Well.
It would be
yeah,
hard to get it posted,
Hard to
because
get
you have to have
posted, have
48
it.
hours.
Or make it contingent, let's figure out how much it has to, you know, how many gallons it's gonna have to be, and if it's that, then we can do it, or we can't do it.
They'll take 50%
Yeah.
on 30,000, no, 50% on 30, it'd be 15,000 gallons. But then you gotta adjust which ones, or it'd be 10 cents across the board, is
Yeah.
what it is, right? So it doesn't matter what
Doesn't
gallon
matter
you use,
which one.
it's gonna be coming off. So we have a motion for a 50, you know, if they will accept 50% prepay.
The thing probably to do is if you're gonna do it, prepay your number 2 diesel, cause you're gonna use that no matter what. Your number 1 is always, the most it's gonna be is 40% kerosene. So, if you're gonna do 50%, just put it all on number 2 diesel, and
We have
then
a-
you know,
Right. We have a motion to that effect.
Okay, so how much?
Basically, what we're saying 50% of our usage. If they'll take a prepay for 50%, then we're on board and we'll pay the other half at the set price here,
Yeah.
Correct.
At the firm price.
at the other 50%. If they're not willing to do it at the 50%, then we do the whole bid for the set price.
they may not be willing to give us the prepay and the firm, they may say
One or the
prepay
other.
and fluctuating.
What if
You
we
know.
filled all the tanks we had this week, will that give us enough time to have a special meeting?
Well, it's supposed to be contract, he's got it, supposed to have the contract.
Oh, it's
back by the
automatic.
12th.
We're kinda tied right now, we gotta decide on this or not at all.
But you'll fill everything before this dollar 78
Okay,
before next
Yeah, cause they
Friday.
filled us last year, right, Mark, before we got the low price, so they might just as well fill us this year before we get this
You're
year.
you're gonna be pulling teeth.
Well, it's usually topped right off, cause they've been hitting us pretty good. Just, when they come up here and deliver up here, if they've got 1,000 left, they drop it here.
They don't, that
Right,
Seems like they were just here the other day.
Yep.
yep,
sounds good of them.
okay. So, that resolution, is that cut with you, Mark? Or do we-
Yeah, just read it back, would you?
Okay, so a motion to prepay for half of the fuel usage for this year. And then at the prepay price.
Yep.
And then can we do the firm for the other half? Or would they make us do the fluctuating, or do they want it all prepaid?
Okay.
Or we could.
I'm not interested in the fluctuating, it's
Yeah.
too big of a, it's too big of a gamble with the
Right.
taxpayers'
That's how
money.
we,
Well, you can never budget, that's the problem. If you don't.
So it's prepay half of it, if we can get the firm for the other half.
Mhm.
That's what the motion is, otherwise we just go with the firm, is that?
Yep.
Correct.
but
Motion.
before the motion is taken, would everybody be able to meet on Friday?
I will not be in town.
Okay.
Well, if we make this motion, we don't need to,
Right,
right?
right.
You can just,
But we have to pretty much post it tomorrow to make.
And that would be the 48 hours.
That would be still have
It's
enough.
supposed to go to the Walton Reporter also, which is
Well,
not.
we don't have time for that.
Yeah, I
I think
know.
last time
We
we
already
just
set the
posted
rules,
in
so.
on the board,
We can set the rules.
No, we've already,
put it on the board and stuff like that, the community board. And-
I think we've covered it with the
Okay,
resolution.
okay.
Yeah.
Any more discussion? You got a motion on this resolution?
Motion.
Okay, a second?
I second it.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Carried.
Make good notes, cause I'll probably call you.
You know, remind me.
I got it wrote down pretty close, we'll get something.
Thank you, Mark.
Yeah, so one more bid.
One more bid.
We got the crushing one, see how this goes. So anyway, so I'll do them alphabetical, and Clark's is gonna be on the top there. Basically, what I did was put the spec at like 5,000, and then if we wanted increments of whatever, we could do that, but to start was 5. That's what we had done in the past, so first bid's gonna be Clark's out of Delphi. Okay, basically, the other thing I did this year, so it'll probably show a little higher, just because of the way our gravel bank's set up, is I told them we were gonna have to have a dozer, and it was totally up on them. Just the way our pit's set up, there's so much low sand on one level, you're having to take it off the top. I didn't want them just hogging blow sand and running that through there, and, you know, have the pricing, so I told them they had to include that. If, otherwise, the guys that can put it up on that level and then come off the gravel, it's up on top, so. Well, anyways, that was the only difference that we had in the spec this time. So the first one, Clark Company's 5,000 cubic yard, inch and a quarter will be at $5.60 per yard. I know last time they were at 484. I looked at it this morning. Next one's gonna be Lefevre's, and he kinda interpreted the bid spec a little wrong, so there'll be two prices in there. we'll just worry about the crushing part instead of the screening part. Okay, the way I wrote the spec was, because we had so much low sand in there, it's trying to get them to sift that off first, and then run the overrun back through. Well, he took it as we were trying to take it off as sand, so he would screen it at one price and then crush it at another price. So what he had was the screening at $5 per cubic yards and then $5 for the crushing. And I told him, I'll just go with a straight up crush, and he was good with that. He didn't tell me his pricing or nothing. So it's gonna be $5 per cubic yard.
So you're not really wanting the sand screened?
Because there's certain ones that cannot do that. And if we get up above the below sand, we're fine.
Right.
That's this, it's silt, it's not even sand.
Okay.
It's one of those, if you got a ton of that, you add a cup of water, you got crap. You can't even get it out of the truck. So
Okay.
we tried it one year, we tried to mix it in with our sand, and it's impossible,
Okay.
so.
So what do you do with that if you got a whole pile of it down there?
We make good fill in places where we're,
Reclaim it.
yeah.
Sandbox.
What we do was, his dad was coming down,
Playground.
spreading manure with
And
it,
we,
and then we were taking ditch cleanings and adding it all in together so we could get our topsoil.
Oh,
And DEC was fine with that, so. Next one is gonna be, ER Pulps Excavating out of Mount Upton. How's this stuff? Wow. 1.25 inch minus, all equipment provided at $4 per yard.
wow. That yard's just outside on the upper side of Mount Upton. On the left-hand
They got
side.
their own pit up there. And, they got a fairly new crusher, nice. It's almost identical to the guy that was doing it last year, which refused to do it this year.
Why was that?
Manpower, because it was basically in an argument every freaking day about how we were doing stuff, and so then that's when we got the dozer. Well, I put that dozer in there and told him, he had to go up on top and get this stuff off. He's a one-man show, so you had the dozer, the loader, and the crusher to 10, which doing 2 out of 3 is okay. Trying to do 3 out of 3 is not. And what he told Paul and I today too was they were backed up. He had a lot of work. Yep, so. Sewer, sand and gravel, $6 per yard. It's kind of a no-brainer.
So we have a motion or discussion, how's that? Any discussion?
You know the Popes or
He went right down with me and looked the bank all over, and Ballard had looked it over. And the only one that didn't was John, but we spent almost 3 hours down there the other day just looking things over. He was very confident he could make us some pretty decent stuff out there.
Okay.
I move to accept Pope's
I second it.
for $4 a yard.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Carried.
So the discussion now will be, we started with 5,000, which is a very shot of money, but not much more than we had been paying. So a couple of them expressed, like if we wanted to do, like 10,000, and then maybe pay later in the year if we had the money, or first part of next year, or work on that, because we're definitely gonna need more than that 5,000 yard. So I can see what they felt,
If they would do 10, pay for 5 this year and pay for 5 next year's budget, would that work, Paul? I mean, how you, if it can be done that way or not, I'm just asking.
All depends on when they send the bill, I guess. I mean, it's up to them, it's not up to me.
Right, but I mean, is that something that, if they agree to that, then they shouldn't send the bill till after January of 18? If they'd sign,
yeah,
How much do you think you might need this year?
I'll use all that 5,000 this year, definitely. Because we haven't been putting it down like we had in the past. The problem is all that stuff that we did after the FEMA, you know, all those yards of gravel we put like on Snake Hill and those places, it's gone away, so we're having some issues and we're gonna need to get that down.
and the other issue of this is you're probably not gonna get cheaper, because fuel's probably gonna go up.
It's gonna go up.
So if we can get, if they would come in, we'd pay them for the 5.
$4,
If they
we
do,
haven't had it done for that.
it was
375.
375 last time.
Well, it was.
Yeah, last time you used him, what, 2 years ago?
But I think, you know, if they would accept, you know, paying for half when it's done this year, and then after the first year, send us a bill, we'll get, Don will collect their taxes and be able to pay that bill then.
We won't have a mining issue of taking that much to once, will we?
No. No.
Just tying in the $4. Now, what if they want more up front? I'm just asking.
I mean, it's nice if they're in there to do it and be done, because I agree with you, I think it's gonna go up.
I can see with fuel going up, that's the driver. I mean, if they would do that, Mark, I think we'd be in favor of 10,000.
If he wants to, if they wanna negotiate, just bring back another offer for the next meeting, because he's not gonna be in this month, is he?
No, I just put the first 5,000 in to be done by May 14th, weather permitting.
Right.
Just because we got a bunch of pipe
You
work.
can use some.
Because we can negotiate a little bit off of that, we got a little better fuel, we got, know what's going on. We
We
should
might-
be out of the,
The other thing, we might be able to, depending on how things are, we might be able to pay maybe 2,500, another 2,500 this year, put it in there.
Well, my thought was if we're gonna use it this year, we should pay for it this year, because next year, then you're paying for stuff that you used last year.
Right, but if you use the 5,000 this year, we'll pay for the 5,000.
Right, but sounds like you could use 7,500 yards this year.
My problem is right now is, because they haven't passed the budget, the state, I got $307,000 worth set in Albany that we don't know if we're gonna get until they pass that damn stuff. Yeah, because all of our CHIPS money revolves around that. And, he's playing hardball right now, you know, with some of the stuff, so. The contingency budget goes through, but the CHIPS doesn't, so.
Definitely the cheapest way to get gravel.
Well, we'll approve the 5,000, and if he wants to talk more, we got the next meeting to talk about it.
Okay, perfect.
But we would be in agreement with 5 and 5,
Yes.
I believe, as a board.
Oh, yeah. $4 a yard, you can't beat it.
You hope you could, but you won't.
Well, you haul it from Indiana.
That's right, yeah. Okay.
Get completely confused.
So is that on this month?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Now, did we have the resolution for $4, except the $4 bid? Yep. Okay. Maybe
If we can pay for it.
Okay.
Yeah, want me to finish?
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't know where I get that piece of paper I got. So anyways, I did a thing there, you know, sometimes people don't understand, this is a good place to bring it right out in public, you know, what that storm did to us, or does to townships and stuff. So I went through and Paul ran the numbers, you know, like for the overtime and straight time, and of course what it would have been if both of them added. The price deals, or the estimated cost you see at the bottom was just with the overtime. Pretty much everything that was highlighted. So, you know, this was just for 48 hours. This was Tuesday and Wednesday. It's all with the trucks, manpower. The only thing that wasn't in there was like our loader and stuff, but, so at $25,805 for 2 days worth of snowstorm. You know, it can knock your budget down in a hurry, you know. You know, and this included sand and salt and stuff, you know. It's pretty close. We were told to get our numbers together and get them in, and something might happen with CNO and Homeland Securities. We might be able to get some of this back. I have not heard anything. I don't know if you heard anything.
That was in the county side, so no.
Yeah. So, in the past, what happened, like that Christmas Day storm, we got paid back. And one other storm too that we got, and I couldn't remember right off. Might have been Valentine's Day one. So, you know, that's just a quick overview of what that cost.
I heard different figures at the county at the last board
Oh,
meeting,
yeah.
somewhere, anywhere from $8,000 to $40,000. Different towns figures.
It's, I guess you can make it what you want, you know. I was just being pretty straight up with it,
Right.
you know. I mean, of course, you've seen in there, you know, we had one truck stop, that was $1,100, you know, to get that out. Broken axle, you know, I didn't put that pricing in there. I didn't have the bill for it,
Right.
you know.
Well,
Newspaper called me and asked me, I just happened to walk in when she called and answered the phone, and, you know, she said, you know, people were complaining about time frames. Well, the problem is 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 10 inches of snow, 3.5 hours, we're done. But when you're going around parked cars, you're trying to get turned around, you gotta plow out those spots every time. A round is about 9 hours. You know, so that goes from 3 hours to 9 hours, you know, and we did 3 rounds that day. We were out of here at 10 o'clock the first one. And then Tuesday we come in, we did 2 rounds on Tuesday. We were out of here at 2:30 normal time, a little after. But I didn't think that was that bad considering what I heard horror stories from other people. So it is what it is, you know. You can only move so fast. Plus, I don't know if anybody's seen 21, it looked like a parking ramp. People are just coming along, leaving their cars and leaving. So we're getting in and out of them. We had cars, you know, on our routes and stuff. So
yeah,
that,
Paul had to pull around me.
yeah.
There's
So-
one out in front of our house.
Yes,
He's
you
trying
did.
to take the broom from his car, that we could, and he's sweeping in front of the tread. He was going 5 feet at a time.
Wow.
Impressive.